So we're back to our picture again. Of caring, of working, of maybe struggling, striving, but connected. The great Jewish teacher and mystic Martin Buber, who many of you have read in Ein Thou, famously said, all real living is meeting. The same theme that we're focusing on this evening. All real living is meeting. And one of my teachers, Norman Fisher at the San Francisco Zen Center, said he was making the profound observation that when we truly meet one another, beyond our defenses, beyond our preconceptions, beyond our needs and desires, and that's a heck of a parenthetical piece, isn't it? Yeah. Without all of our defenses, without all of your psychological baggage, without all of your defenses, and beyond all of your preconceptions, all those lenses through which we look at each other. You know, a child is so innocent, they believe everything they see. You can play tricks on them. But as adults, we see what we believe because of this virtual reality that we're working with. Beyond our needs and desires, beyond this grasping and aversion that so shifts the way that we live our lives. If we can meet each other that way and open ourselves to each other with the courage to step toward one another, this approach capacity, then and only then can we be said to be completely alive. Real maturity is always meeting what's in front of you in this way. Real maturity is always meeting what's in front of you in this way. This is the function of spiritual practice, and this is the function of personal maturity. Although true maturity may be rare, we're all capable of it and can recognize it when we see it. When our lives are touched by a mature person, we feel it. We see it and notice it because we have limbic structures that help us orient to each other. We have prefrontal cortexes that help us resonate deeply with emotionality, not just data. And we have the capacity to go against the evolutionary grain and begin to see life as it really is instead of living in a virtual world. And when we do that, we cultivate a spacious heart and mind. We become a larger container for life to flow through us. We become that mind that is open and willing to learn, to listen, and that opens our heart. You know, the more we can see reality, when you look around, the more you see that people are having a hard time. I mean, if you really look. And if you don't turn away, and you keep looking more deeply, then your heart opens. If your heart opens and you don't turn away, then you can keep looking a little deeper. And wisdom and compassion begin to open together in this spacious heart and mind of spiritual practice. And that energy, that light, that capacity of an open heart and mind begins to illuminate the landscape of what's actually happening. We see the way things really are. And the way things really are is that life is an amazing challenge. It's kind of difficult. It's wonderful and amazing, but it's quite a challenge. And the only way we get through it is to have somebody by your side, really. And folks who don't suffer immensely. I mean, it sounds a little simplistic, but this is the way it goes. We need each other profoundly. And when we're able to open our hearts and minds, which illuminates the way things really are, then we begin to soften the barriers to loving and being loved. Then that capacity, the full capacity, the really unbound capacity of humanness can unfold. I asked my primary mentor, John Gladfelter, who I studied with for almost 40 years, who died in February. I asked him, I said, John, why is it that some people can use a relationship, like in talking psychotherapy, or a student-teacher relationship in the spiritual discipline, why are some people able to use that and benefit from it and change, and some people don't seem to? And he said rather quickly and surprisingly, the capacity to experience gratitude. The capacity to experience gratitude. And I began to think, in order to experience gratitude, one has to be fairly mature. You know, immature love says, what can I get? What can you give me? What can I get? Mature love says, what can I offer? And as we become a resource for each other by opening our hearts and minds, seeing what's most true, softening our barriers to love, what we end up with is this immense gratitude for having a life at all. And to be able to serve each other and to be cared for in the simplest ways by the people that love us. And that's not a bad thing to wake up to. And that's not a bad thing to grow into. And those capacities are served by our minds and our nervous system, certainly. And also by what we sometimes call our heart. So I hope that this gives you an overview and kind of a picture of what's possible. And if you have questions, I'm happy to take them.